Welcome to lesson 109. Today we will be talking about equations that have exponents in them. Go ahead and write the title on the top of your page, please. We'll be going through and solving 4 equations that have exponents. We solve them exactly the same way. There's just one extra little step at the end. It's not too bad. So we'll do 4 and then you guys will do the last 4 on your own. So our first equation with an exponent. We're going to solve this like normal. Let's just pretend this is a regular x and not an x squared for the time being. So we go ahead and our first thing is that we are going to add 1 to both sides of that equation and bring everything else down. So I get 3x squared is equal to 48. All right. Again, don't worry about the x squared. We're going to take care of the coefficient on x first. So we're going to divide by 3 on both of those. And so I get that x squared is equal to, well, 3 goes into 48. 3 goes in one time, and then I get 18, and then 6. All right, cool. So that divides out to 16. That's great because I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and that square root is going to undo the square on x. So the square root of x squared, well, that just gives me x. And then if I do the square root of 16, remember a few lessons back we talked about how, yes, that equals 4, but also there's a second answer because -4 times -4 also gives me positive 16. So -4 would also be a solution to this equation. So most equations that we've done so far only have one solution. When there are exponents, your equation will have 2 solutions. All right, on number 2. X squared plus x squared equals 20. Well, let's simplify this part first. X squared plus x squared, well, really it's 1x squared plus 1x squared. That gives me 2x squared. So let's definitely simplify that first. Then we see, okay, we can divide by 2 on both sides. So I get that x squared is equal to 10. I take the square root of both sides. And so I get x by itself. Then square root of 10, we do not know the square root of 10. It is an irrational number. We're just going to leave it as square root 10. But again, remember there's going to be 2 solutions. We want the negative of that as well. So I get negative square root 10. Notice the negative sign is outside of the radical. You do not want to write it this way. This is not correct. It is not possible to take the square root of a negative number because nothing times nothing is going to equal -10. I want negative on the outside, square root sign, and then 10. All right, that's our first 2. Next one, this one we have to translate. 5 less than what number squared is 20? Well, let's start with this first. Is 20? I definitely can do that. So I have something equals 20. Now let's look at the first part. 5 less than what number squared? Well, this is my variable squared. So what number squared? I'm going to start with x squared here. Then let's think about where the 5 is going to go. 5 less than this x squared. Remember that less than? We need to switch the order. So really, I'm subtracting 5 from my x squared. This is 5 less than x squared. You do not want 5 minus x squared because that gives you a positive 5 and a negative x squared. So we have to switch the order here. Then I'm going to add 5 on both of those. And that's great because I get x squared is equal to 25. Take the square root of both. And I get that x is equal to positive 5 and negative 5. 2 answers. All right, and example 4 is a proportion. Again, proportion means you have a fraction equal to another fraction. So we solve those by cross multiplying. So I would multiply those 2 together. X times x, as we know, is x squared. And that's going to be equal to 36 because you got 3 times 12. Then we're just going to take the square root of each side. And you get that x is equal to 6 and negative 6. 2 answers. All right, go ahead and I want you to pause and try the next 4 problems, and then you can check your work. All right, so at this point you should have paused and done those 4 problems. I'm going to go to the answers. Check your answers. For number 5, you get that x is 6 and negative 6. For number 6, you get that x is root 5 and negative root 5. Again, that negative side's on the outside. For number 7, you get that x is root 3. It is not negative root 3 because number 7 specifically said that they wanted a positive number. So we're going to exclude that negative value. And for 8, you cross multiply and you get 6 and negative 6. If you got them, cool, you can stop the video. If not, I will do them. All right, this first one, we're going to add 8 on both. And so I get 3x squared is equal to 108. We divide both sides by 3, and we get x squared is equal to 36. And take the square root, and you get that x is 6 and negative 6. On this one, you want to combine your x squareds. Remember, it's 1x squared plus 1x squared, so I get 2x to the second power. That's equal to 10. We divide both sides by 2, and so I get x squared is equal to 5. But then I got to take the square root of both sides. So I get that x is equal to root 5 and then negative root 5. On this one, the product of the square of a positive number and 7. Okay, well, product, remember, means multiply. So I'm going to multiply 7 and I'm going to multiply x squared. And then it says is 21. So that's just my equals 21. Then what's the number? Okay, so I divide by 7. On both sides, so I get that x squared is equal to 3. Take the square root, and I get that x is equal to square root of 3. It would be negative 3 also, except that it says I need a positive number. So I just get x is equal to root 3. On number 8, we cross multiply. We get w squared is equal to 36. That means w is going to be equal to 6 and negative 6 once I take the square root of both sides. And there we go.